All right. Oops. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, as you can see, we are going to learn modern art today. So, modernity in Europe and North America reflected the emergence of a new kind of society in the wake of the French, American, and industrial revolutions. So, driven by technological process and characterized by the rapid change, the 19th century gave birth to our industrialized middle class culture of mass production, mass advertising, and mass consumption, including the mass consumption of leisure activities such as shopping, going to entertainments, and visiting art museums. So art museums themselves were a development of a 19th century, and they made art available to the public in a way we now take for granted. So the first national museum was the Louvre Museum in Paris. Have you ever seen this? Nobody? You don't know the Louvre Museum in Paris? No? Okay, so this is Louvre Museum. It looks like a pyramid with the glass. Looks very beautiful museum. And the art was now for everybody, no longer by the church or by the nobility. So let's see the modern timeline. So many scholars agree that modern art started from Louvre Museum here in 1793, and it ended after World War II. So this is modern art, and after World War II, it calls postmodern art. And the modern art is divided by two. Before avant-garde and after avant-garde. So we learned photography here. So there is a photography timeline briefly. You remember, right? We learned it before the midterm. And the first photograph in the world, daguerreotype, came out of the world during this modern time. So as photograph had developed, many artists abandoned the traditional art style and they tried new art styles, right? And because traditional art was not meaningful anymore, thanks to the invention of camera. And that also happened during this time period. But the beginning of the modern art movement was still realistic, and their arts were based on observation. Because photographs development was just a baby step, and it wasn't threatening for painters. However, after daguerreotype, the photograph's development was accelerated, and by 1888, Kodak was invented and they invented the portable camera, and everyone could record their mundane life. So artists needed something new rather than the realistic art. So that art movement is called avant-garde, means newest art. And after avant-garde, the art history began to write totally different story. So before the avant-garde, there were three major art movements: realism, impressionism, and post-impressionism. And after avant-garde, diverse art movement arose: Fauvism, expressionism, cubism, futurism, Dada, surrealism, and idealism, etc. So today, we are going to see the art movement before the avant-garde. So let's see the realism first. So a number of artists broke away from the traditions of earlier 18th and 19th century. We learned Baroque and Rococo art last week, right? To create objective representations of the real world. The movement called realism refers specifically to writers and artists in France who were concerned about achieving social change after the Revolution of 1848. And realist artists sought to depict the everyday and the ordinary rather than the historic, the heroic, or the exotic. So their works unmasked for art viewers the true lives of the middle and lower classes. Do you remember this work?
Yes.
Yes. So this is a realism artist, Honor Darminer's lithography printing work of art. We saw this work when you learned contextual analysis before, right? So he recorded a historical terrible event in this work. And so let me read this tragedy story again. So major French cities, including Lyon and Paris, revolted. April 15, 1834, the Parisians stand barricades in the streets. During the attacks of one of the barricades by the army, Transnomian Street, an infantry captain was killed by a shot fired from a house. The next day, the soldier will attack very hard rioters and will break down the doors of the building at number 12 Rue Transnomian, supposed to be the one from which the party was shot. All residents of the building, including old men, women, and children, were massacred. A bloody event that will remain in history as the massacre of Transnomian Street, imaged by the painter and caricaturist Honor Dominer. That's realist work of art. And here's another realist work of art. So what can you see? Just to tell, what you can see.
Men at work.
Yes. So what's the difference? We saw diverse work last week, right? It was very heroic, right? And very grandeur, the Baroque art, but it looks like, different, right? They're working. They're our, mundane life. So that called realism. That's the difference. So this painting, Stonebreakers, was shocking for its depiction of working class people on a large-sized canvas, a scale normally reserved for the heroic subject matter of history paintings. Courbet's painting highlights the backbreaking, monotonous work of poor. The breaking of stones was a job taught by older generations to young men, and it was a job a man would have for a lifetime. So the painting shows an older worker and his young assistants as powerful and unrelenting qualities that alarmed the upper classes. And a year before, Courbet painted this work in the revolution working conditions and to low pay. And the next modern art movement is Impressionism. Have you ever heard about Impressionism? It's very popular modern art movement. No one?
Why does that look like Monet work?
Yes, 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 it is. So how do you feel when you see the Monet's work?
It's peaceful, calm,
Uh-huh.
soothing.
Yes, 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 it is. Okay, so let's see what the Impressionism. So the artists who came to be called Impressionists worked in individual and sometimes very different styles, but they were united in rejected the formal approach of the art taught in the academy in Paris. So they are different. They are not traditional. So their art attempted not so much to portray exactly and realistically such scenes as a landscape or life in a city, as to capture the light and sensations produced by the scene. The Impressionists formed a group to show their work together outside the official salon in 8 exhibitions held between 1874 and 1886. So their subject matter was the scene of everyday life. So that makes calm to us. So ruler and the other subject matter is ruler's landscape and life in the modern and growing cities of France. And impresses were often intent on capturing the essence of a moment in time. So before the Impressionists, artists who followed traditional methods of painting gave their work a smooth surface. But Impressionists, on the other hand, chose to reveal their brush strokes, the almost sketchy, unfinished appearance of many Impressionist work break away from the academic tradition of implying creating an illusion of three-dimensional space on canvas. Instead, Impressionists flattened space, welcomed the texture created by the paint, and often allowed the canvas to be seen beneath the painting. So many Impressionist paintings do indeed have an apparently unfinished quality because the artists are interested in capturing instantaneous moments rather than creating a highly finished, technically flawless piece of work. So we're gonna see 3 Impressionist artists, and this is the first Impressionist artist, Edouard Monet. So he was a French modernist painter. He was one of the first 19th century artists to paint modern life, and a pivotal figure in the transition from realism to impressionism. Let's see his work. All right. Let's talk about this painting. Can you read this painting? You can just talk, what you can see, what you can feel through this painting.
Some sort of sex revolution because the woman's nude.
Yes, that's what I thought, when I saw this painting at the first time. Yes, very good. Anything else?
It's almost like if the people there don't fit with the landscape.
Uh-huh. Very good. Very good. So actually, Manet's paintings are hard to read. It's really hard to read. So for this painting, let's just see this painting. So why this front woman is naked and posed like that? And where is she looking at? She's looking at, to us, right?
The viewer, yeah.
Yes, she's looking at us.
Like daring almost.
Yes. And why these guys are dressed up and act like there's only 2 of them? That's weird, right? And what is the woman on the backside doing, right? Is she taking a bath there? Oh my goodness, it's weird. So it seems like there's no relationship between the figures. So Manet's painting is odd. The art historians still debate just what he meant by it. Still debated. And in the modeling his figures, he focused on the highest and the lowest values, all but illuminating the middle and transitional tones. As a result, forms such as the nude woman's body appear flattened and as though illuminated by a sudden flash of light. So it's very unique painting, and still, nobody find the artist's intention actually. So I posted a video link in the model room, so please watch it for your understanding. It will be better to understand, when you watch that video. We saw this painting before, right? So this painting is a little bit easier than the previous one, but so this painting is rich in detail, which provide clues to social class. The woman at the bar is a real person known as Susan, so who worked at a bar in the early 1880s. So for his painting, Monet posed her in his studio, and by including a dish of oranges, so Monet identifies the barmaid as a prostitute, according to art historian Larry L. Ligo, who says that Monet habitually associated oranges with prostitution in his paintings, and nobody knows why. He just did that. And the next artist is Claude Monet. And Claude Monet stands like no other painters for the Impressionist styles and as the French master of light. He was also a central pioneer of 20th century painting. When Monet traveled to Paris to visit the Louvre Museum, he witnessed the painters copying from the old masters. However, Monet brought his paints and other tools with him, and he sit by a window and paint what he saw. Monet was in Paris for several years and met several painters who would become friends and fellow impressionists. One of those friends was Edward Monet. This painting's title is Impressionism Sunrise. And this is the first shown at what would become known as the exhibition of the Impressionists in Paris in April 1874. And the painting is credited with inspiring the name of the Impressionist movement. So Impressionism Sunrise depicts a port in Monet's hometown. And Monet painted same subjects in many times because the lights and sceneries are different by the time, the day, and the weather. And he liked to paint the nature views outside to capture all the difference of lighting while he was painting. And this is another beautiful landscape painting. And he used the brush stroke speed to show the time. Through this painting, he even could feel, we even could feel the windy weather. And Monet was diagnosed with nuclear cataracts in both eyes in 1912 at the age of 72. His visual problems began much earlier. Soon after the age 65, he began to experience changes in his perception of color. In his eye, everything looked blurry and yellowish and brownish to him. So after he was diagnosed with cataracts, he spent most of his time at his garden. And he left so many beautiful garden landscape paintings, and he died at 86. There is a video to show his beautiful garden with his paintings he left in the model room. Please watch the video to see amazing masterpieces of his of the Impressionism. And the next Impressionist artist is Auguste Renoir. Auguste Renoir was a French artist who was a leading painter in the development of the Impressionist style. He depicted beauty and especially feminine sensuality. And this painting is one of Impressionism's most celebrated masterpieces. The painting depicts a typical Sunday afternoon at the original Moulin de l'Argret in the district of Montmartre in Paris. In the late 19th century, working class Parisians would dress up and spend time there dancing, drinking, and eating. And he left so many beautiful portrait paintings like this. Look at the brush stroke on her hair. It is soft, you know, but every single strokes are alive. Very beautiful painting. And this is another portrait. This is unusual portrait style. The composition is not focusing on the figures nor the landscape. Even the kid doesn't show full torso in this painting. He tried the unique portrait style in this painting. And Renoir show completed technique as impressionist through this painting. And there is a video about his life with his masterpieces in the model room. So please watch the video to fully understand the artist. And now let's see post-impressionism. So next generation of artists admired many aspects of impressionism, especially its brightened palette and direct painting technique. But they reacted in various ways to what they perceived as its shortcomings. Their styles are so highly personal that we commonly group them together under the neutral term post-impressionist, meaning simply the artists who came after Impressionism. We are going to see three post-impressionism artists: Georges Seurat, Vincent van Gogh, and Paul Gauguin.
Professor,
Yes?
what does it mean, direct painting technique? What is that?
Direct painting technique is just like a freestyle technique. So so they don't have like a specific plan. They don't have like a
A sketch.
yes, they don't have like a very big plan like a Baroque or Renaissance artist.
All right.
Yes. All right. So this is the first artist, Georges Seurat. We saw this artist before. So Georges Seurat wanted to place Impressionism's intuitive recording of optical sensations on a more scientific footing. And his reading of color theories led him to develop the technique of pointillism, in which discrete dots and dashes of pure complementary colors are supposed to blend in the viewer's eyes. This painting, we saw this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we learned this artistic technique in visual elements chapter for the optical color mixture. So he painted all the colors with color dots, but he didn't use direct colors, and he used optical color mixture. So for example, to make green color, he used yellow dots and blue dots. And when the lots of color dots put together, they create new colors. That's pointillism. And the next artist is Vincent van Gogh. Everyone knows him, right? So Vincent van Gogh was a Dutch post-impressionist painter who is among the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art. In just over a decade, he created about 2,100 artworks, including around 860 oil paintings, most of which date from the last 2 years of his life, which is a lot. That is a lot. That's crazy, actually. They include landscapes, still lifes, portraits, and self-portraits, and are characterized by bold colors and dynamic, impulsive, and expressive brushwork, and that contributed to the foundations of modern art. Sadly, he was not commercially successful, and he suicided at 37, came after years of mental illness and poverty. The Starry Night is one of the most recognized painting in the history of Western culture. It described the view from the east-facing window of a Siam room just before sunrise, with the addition of an ideal village, which is a beautiful painting. And this is his self-portrait when he had a year. And this is his bedroom painting.
That looks familiar.
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
background.
Yes, the bedroom. My
Look at
bedroom.
your background.
My bedroom. So
I think it's yours.
yes, this is his bedroom,
No, I think you make it. You make it. You make it. You used to use it every day.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite, painting. So there is a video, I recommend to watch that video. It has lots of meanings. So please watch it. And also, this is a very famous painting. So as his self-portrait, after he lost his ear, he began to hallucinate and suffered attacks in which he lost consciousness. During one of these attacks, he used a knife to cut his ear. He could later recall nothing about the event. And the last post-impressionist artist we are going to see is Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin worked in an impressionist style early in his career. Gauguin was interested in impressing a spiritual meaning in his art. All this he sought on the sun-drenched island of the South Pacific, where he journeyed to escape what he called the disease of civilization. So this is it. So is there any art style, similar, is there any similar art style you can, remind you? When you see this, Paul Gauguin's painting from the ancient art. Any art style? Any art style you recall it? All right. So this is one of his famous painting, Titan. The brilliant high key color of his Titan painting reveal his that to Impressionism. To this lightened palette, he added his own innovations, flattened forms and broad color area, a strong outline, tertiary color, harmonious, a taste for the exotic, an aura of mystery, and the quest for the primitive. But the woman's pose, look at the woman's pose. It looks like Egyptian art, right? So the legs shown in profile and shoulder depicted frontally. So Gauguin believed the European art had been in thrall for a long time to the legacy of Greece and Rome, and he looked to art of Egypt, Islam, and Asia to renew it. So there is a video about his artistic journey based on his journal he left in the model room. I need you to watch this video to understand this artist's creative viewpoint. We are going to continue to see the modern art after the avant-garde next week. And today we have a discussion. So please go to week 13. This is today's discussion. Read ebooks page 519 and discuss why artists choose same themes and depict the themes differently. And please answer the question, okay? And when you go to the week 13.1 page, so there are the artist videos. Please watch them after this class, okay?